Stacey Prayer here with Level Up Nation. You're tuning into the Level Up Nation podcast, and today we have our special guest, my co-host, Dustin Pritchard. And
Hey.
we have Jay Stevens from Virgin Radio. Hey, Jay, how's it going?
Hello. It's well, I think that's a bit of a loaded question right now for people, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of. So without any further ado, let's get straight to it. So basically, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on as our guest today, as a public figure, I think it's really important to see how are you communicating to your listeners amongst all this crazy pandemic news?
Well, in a physical and literal sense, basically from this corner in my basement, I've got a little den that I've called the men den, but it's now kind of been redubbed the J spot because this is where I do all my work. I've got the lovely mattress beside me. I just wanted to get that out of the way before anybody wonders why the mattress is here. Obviously this all came about so fast, and everybody was kind of, it wasn't even read and react. It was just react. So, it's funny. I've talked to a lot of my colleagues across North America about the fact that, hey, just about any household item can become a piece of broadcast equipment. So the air mattress, because of the contour, because I've got a bar behind here, but the air mattress, because the contour actually deadens some of the noise, so improves the acoustics. So when you listen to the show, it not 100% studio quality, but it's as good as it can possibly be. So in terms of connecting with the audience, it's trying to keep things as normal as possible, not only for your own peace of mind, as you guys can relate to, but also, for our audience as well. Things are constantly up in the air with people right now. So we're just trying to keep that little piece of normalcy in their day-to-day lives.
Cool. So can I ask you then, is all the broadcasters then, are all the talent doing this from home now?
I would say about 95% of people are doing it from home. A lot of companies have issued, a one host rule. They've limited the amount of people that are allowed in buildings. So for example, morning shows, Jeff Kelly that hosts our morning show, Jeff and Rachel, he's allowed in the studio each morning and then vacates the studio. Nobody else is in there but him. Backstage Ben is at home on his couch, which is nice because generally he's on my couch. And then Rachel Ettinger is live via another remote broadcast unit from her apartment.
So have you guys been doing a lot of online stuff? When you guys, I know that typically you guys would meet and discuss news and all that kind of stuff. So are you guys using FaceTime, and are you guys using all these online tools now to communicate with each other and to your listeners?
Absolutely. I think the really interesting thing is that everybody has their own way of doing things, right? I mean, there's no, especially in a situation like this, there is no right way of doing something. So our morning show, they connect, daily on FaceTime calls, go over what's coming up on the show. They talk in between breaks about what they want to discuss next, because you really need that one-on-one interaction. So I think that's vital for them. For me, with my program director, because I'm the music director for the station as well, I'm connecting with her via emails, texts, calls, Zoom, FaceTime. She and I are pretty much attached at the hip. I'm actually
virtually
pretty
attached.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I think after this, she's going to try to lose my number as much as possible. I don't think I've ever talked to somebody so much in my entire life, and I kind of laugh about it because I'm like, wow, it's going to be probably a break for you when we're allowed within 6 feet of one another, because we're not going to discuss as much. And then obviously with the audience, we're constantly spitballing and brainstorming ideas to connect with them socially. And I think that's the most important thing for us is to stay connected with them. Our texting platforms are all available at home. So when we're talking on the air and saying text us, you're texting us and we're hitting you back 30 seconds later. So You know,
Nice.
not only do you have that voice, you have that constant interaction, which I think so many people are kind of starving for right now because we just can't get it.
No, that's true. And for myself, not trying to advertise this, but as a newly single person, it's really weird because um,
I'm not trying to advertise this.
wait a minute.
Look at my profile.
Um, it's really weird because this is the first time I've literally been like solo since I was 22. And I know I look like I'm 25, but there's a few more years on this puppy. So it's literally just been myself, my dog, and I've been bugging Dustin like every 2 seconds. Like, hi, hi.
Maybe every.
Um,
That's a bit of an
yeah.
example. Yeah.
So one of my questions to you guys is, what's your social stance that you guys are taking? I know that there's a lot of memes going on and there's a lot of jokes going on, and they're saying for some businesses, they're telling their people not to make light of it as much. How are you guys coping with that? Because I know usually there's a lot of shenanigans that go on the radio and the Facebook pages. So
Oh yeah, no. And for me, I don't know. I've just always been that type of person that tries to find the moments of levity, and if they're not there, I create them. So it's extremely difficult for me. You know, you wake up every day, and you're not sure if you're gonna burst into tears or if it's gonna be a good day. Like it literally, it's
oh, it's not
difficult.
just me. No.
No. Trust me, I look in the mirror every day and cry, but it's a different type of tears this time. But you know, for us, and I think anybody that listens to my show and for any friends that I have,
For any friends that you have, sorry.
they know, yeah, I can't be
Oh, he's freezing.
my fiance.
We'll give him a second. He's freezing on us.
Yeah.
Am I slowing down?
Yeah.
A little bit, just a little bit. Speaking of breaking the internet, we talked about this yesterday, and Jay's actually proven this today. Like he was talking about, you know, how we are needing to use technology, and a lot of people are using technology to create those moments of connection.
Entirely.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, he's still frozen. At least you don't have a funny look on your face like I did last time. He always captures me when I'm making a stupid face, so I stopped doing it. Except for the natural ones.
I know, and the other one I got, I'm like, oh crap, I literally look constipated. The one that was like,
you kind of did. You kind of did.
just a little bit.
That's okay. Yeah,
You
if
know I'm full of shit
he's going to pop back on in a second. Right?
Yeah.
But I think it's really interesting, Stacey, because we've talked about this. Like, for example, Zoom. We use Zoom. We're using Zoom right now, right? And this is a video conferencing software that I've used for years now to be able to conduct virtual team meetings and interviews and podcasts now and things like that, which is great. But what I noticed, and Jason, oh, he's coming back. What I noticed is that these technologies are getting so bogged down. The internet's getting so bogged down that we actually have to be really patient. You know, in a situation like this, especially, we got to be patient because, quite frankly, we literally are bogging down the internet. Where everybody's got their face in front of a screen right now, unless they're walking their dog. It's definitely using the technology. That's for sure.
Jay, welcome back.
Sorry, guys. And you know, it is a perfect time to jump in on that. My fiance is a small business owner, so she is constantly chewing up all of our broadband at home. No, but like so many right now, she's just constantly connecting to her staff, her students, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why every so often we hit a bit of a connectivity issue. So I just decided to come up and take over the middle of the house so that she knows that I'm working this time.
You're like, damn it, woman.
Exactly.
My time.
Exactly.
At least you got
yes, your Facebook post about your engagement was super cute, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, it's thank you very much. It's not very often that I create engaging posts, but I figure I would do it literally.
Engaging engagement post.
But no, to your point, you know, with Kate, it's been very difficult for her, and I just wake up and I constantly remind her, you know, we're on the same team, we're the home team, we got this, trying to be uplifting for her, and it's great because when I see her demeanor change, I know that when I continue to say that on the air, that it's impacting and affecting anybody that might be listening to that as well. So I think, you know, from my standpoint, it's a message of encouragement. It's a message of positivity. If we can find the little things right now that make us laugh, then I think it's important we do that, because every screen that you turn on, every speaker that you turn on, you know, it's not a message of overwhelming positivity for people right now. I think what people need to hear is a message of hope. And you know, I love that in 2 weeks, you know, the world has been turned upside down, but people are finding ways to power through it and overcome it. And I like the message that we're getting from our provincial and our federal leadership. Personally, I mean, that gives me a little bit of peace of mind. My English bulldog Ollie is now down here. He's like, wait a second, Dad, you're not supposed to talk to yourself for another couple hours. But you know, so for me, if I find a vacancy to throw a joke in, I'm going to make a joke. You know, and I, you know, 9 times out of 10, they don't fall flat. And I really don't think that if you tell a joke right now that offends somebody, that's the biggest worry they're going to have in their day. So it's just, you know, I constantly spit the message out on my show, and I know it's very corny and cliche, but I keep telling people the only thing that we need to spread right now is love. And you know, the only thing that will spread faster than a disease like this is like I said, is the encouragement, is the hope, is the love. You know, you'll see a post and the vitriol, the trolls below it just bring you down. And, you know, those people are going to continue to do that. I've dealt with that for 20 years in the industry that I'm in. But, you know, you, as they say, you know, you find the helpers. And, you know, one of the things that we talk about as a staff is, you know, especially right now, is every day when you look in the mirror, you know, we have an opportunity to be those helpers. And whether that's just playing people's favorite songs, whether that's me shutting up and not, you know, talking less so that we can play more of them, or trying to do something that puts a smile on people's faces. I mean, it's all about trying to keep people on the level.
Jay, so for anyone who's watching right now, who hasn't tuned into your show, how can they tune in to listen to you live?
Well, it's 97.5 Virgin Radio. So I mean, here in London, obviously, you can throw it on your radio, your smart speakers. I'm not going to do that right now because Google is always listening to me. But you can always ask your smart speaker. You can fire up the iHeartRadio app. The other cool thing about this is that, you know, and I laugh about it, you know, for the better part of 2 decades, I've been saying, you know, radio is kind of like the cockroach of the media industry, because by the time everything else dies, we're still going to be around. And that's one of the great things that I love right now, is the fact that I miss the connection with my colleagues. I miss the connection that I have with my listener. You know, whether I'm going out hosting an event or you know, running into people, seeing people, you know, is the immediacy of it. And I mentioned that before. Whereas, you know, we can say hit us with a text and we get a text. You know, we throw a post up on socials and all of a sudden we're interacting with 40 different people. I mean, as much as we talk about physical distancing, we have to realize right now that we are, in theory, closer than we've ever been.
Well, you have a static audience, and that was my next question. Do you find people are engaging with you more?
I think less people, but they're engaging more, if that makes any sense. The ones that are engaging, they do need a distraction. They do want to have a conversation. They want to tell you what they're binging. They want to tell you about what they made for dinner last night.
So what are they binging? Tell me. Give us the news.
Everybody's on the Tiger King right now, which I haven't had a chance to watch yet because I haven't
heard of that. What is it?
Tiger King. Apparently, it's like a hot mess.
Sounds wonderful.
Love is Blind was the hot mess. I did that. I binged it in like 2 days. It was a mess.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. Everybody loves a train wreck, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm working with producers right now to turn my life into a movie. I think it would sell. Dustin could play me.
There you go. Hey.
That's right.
Dustin used to be an actor, so that's not that far-fetched.
Yeah, he's got the ink and everything else, so that works. He's a ringer. I just can't grow facial hair, so we'll have to shave that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's too
But no, people are binging their favorite shows. They're binging movies. You know, talk to a lot of people that are working their way through, you know, the Harry Potter set.
Yeah.
Some people that are watching all of the Lord of the Rings movies, which
Oh, geez.
good on them. I'm like, you know, hopefully the quarantine doesn't last that long.
Honestly, one of my right. One of my favorite memes though is like Schmeagol with like a roll of toilet paper. He's
The
like,
Precious.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's wild, right? And you know that's one of the things that we joke about is when this began, you know, and it's crazy to think about that it's only been a couple of weeks, but when this began, I was laughing at a lot of the messages that were like, you know, it's the media, and I was like, I looked at a couple of this is when we were all still together. I looked at a couple of my colleagues, and I was like, at no point did I ever say go out and hoard toilet paper.
No.
We were the ones making fun of people who were hoarding
Yeah.
toilet paper. But you know, it's crazy. You know, some of the texts that I'm getting from people that are like, you know what, I finally launched my side hustle, or I've always wanted to learn this. You know, and that's the great thing too, is that people can feed us those suggestions, and we share those suggestions via a pretty big soapbox. And all of a sudden, you know, you're not able to see your best friend, but thanks to a suggestion from somebody that might be listening live in Toronto, somebody in London is now chasing a dream, or, you know, rather than looking at being at home as opposed to work right now as a negative, a positive to, as you guys say, level up, to revitalize themselves, to jumpstart their future when we get on the other side of this, because we will. And I think the ones that are taking this as an opportunity to rethink, re-strategize are the ones that are, you know, I've used the analogy, you know, Forrest Gump and Lieutenant Dan on the shrimp boat, and the hurricane hits and only one boat comes back to shore. I keep telling people, be that boat.
Be that boat. I've been saying that for days and days and days. Be that boat. Absolutely. That's a great analogy. I love that.
I'm gonna do it like I think, well, I'm going to do it, not a shameless plug, but I'm just going to do a shameless suggestion. I think I kind of mentioned this yesterday. I saw that West Vancouver was doing the Make Some Noise for like healthcare workers. I really think you guys, like with, again, the power of radio, I think you guys should start something. Like maybe everyone should play Imagine from John Lennon outside their like balconies and windows or something. There should just be like a specific day, specific time, and we just show support for all of our frontline workers and each other.
I totally agree. And again, I think if we've got that opportunity to be on a big soapbox and hit a mass amount of people, and that's where I like seeing the celebrities doing the same thing now. And Ryan Reynolds obviously did it the best, but turning it around and saying, okay, you know what, you guys are all watching me, but you know, we need to pay respect, acknowledge, and give major props to some of those helpers. And our morning show was talking about it earlier today. The fact that people have gone out and bought blue ribbons, the fact that people have put up signs, put up Christmas lights, thanking healthcare workers, thanking our essential services right now for doing everything that they can, putting themselves at risk to keep us safe. And that's, again, and it goes back to that message of positivity, of encouragement, of hope. So yeah, I'm all for that. Nobody wants to hear me sing, but I'll gladly do it from the top of my lungs if you know, if it makes somebody else happy.
Let's organize it. Date, time. We'll put it out there.
I do want to make a point there, because a lot of people are saying that thank you for the essential services, and they're focusing on healthcare workers. But you know what? My son, he's 17 years old, and he works at a grocery store. He's the cashier at a grocery store. That is a frontline worker in my mind, and I just want to give him a shout out, Solomon. Like, thank you for continuing to go to work, and you're 17 years old, and you're still doing your duty and your job, and you're helping out the rest of the community be able to stay fed and have those resources available for everybody. Like that's a massive endeavor, and that's a conscious choice as well.
Oh, I totally agree. And as I've said multiple times in this, we are realizing that no one person is more important than another person. I cannot believe, you know, especially on a small business scale, or even on our scale, you know, if the small businesses aren't open, the small businesses can't advertise. If they can't advertise, then we can't keep the lights on. You know, I mean, it's all cyclical. We all rely so much on each other on a day-to-day basis. If the positive here is that we're just now realizing that, and that, you know, the grocery store worker who is coming in, again, putting their health at risk to ensure that you get fed, if it's them that are helping you, you know, keep your normal rolling as normal as it possibly can be, or if it's the you know, the garbage pickup person that comes, and you know, it's just,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people here. There are a lot of heroes, and again, you know, you said look at the helpers that look, you know, they're all over.
I love that word too, helpers too. It's very all-encompassing, and it's and we all have the ability to do that. We all have the ability to be a helper. And sometimes being a helper is not actually going out there and doing something. Sometimes just being a helper is just staying home and staying out of the way, and helping to flatten the curve. You know?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the essentials list came out, and you know what? I'll be honest. When it first came out, I was like, "Yay, we're on it, real estate agents." But then there was a lot of people that weren't on it, and there's a lot of people that have been laid off, and there's a lot of people that are staying home. But truthfully, everybody is essential, because everyone who's staying home and taking this seriously, that is essential. So thank you for staying home and not spreading your cooties.
And you know what? I do. Sorry, and I do want to comment on this because this has been brought up, and as a realtor, as a team leader, I actually want to comment on this. Realtors have been put onto this essential services list by Ontario, but this isn't because we're an incredibly essential service in a time of crisis like this. It is because there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the middle of financial transactions. And so these transactions need to continue and be closed, and they have varying degrees of closing dates and things like that. So I want to actually do a message out to all the realtors out there. Being an essential service on this list just means that we're party to a trade in a financial transaction that if we stop, all of a sudden a whole bunch of people are hurt, right? That's the only reason. It does not give us permission to go out there and business as usual, and it does not give us permission to go out there and be cocky saying that we're on an essential service list and somebody else is not, right? So for those realtors taking this seriously and staying home and operating virtually, I salute you. For those of you who may not be, really, really take a look at how you are being socially conscious, because this is important. It's not just about flattening the curve. You need to make sure that you protect your reputation at the same time. Because the consumer, they're watching you, right? So, sorry, that's my soapbox.
No, it's a brilliant point, and you're spot on. Take a look at what we're doing right now. You know, it is a time where everybody is watching. Whether, you know, it's looking down the street and seeing the neighbors have 4 cars in their driveway on Saturday night because their friends who are also social distancing themselves are coming over for wine night. It's like, well, you know, I've been quarantined all week. You've been quarantined all week. You know, we can get together for, like, everybody. The eyes are everywhere right now, and thankfully, I guess in my case, the ears are too.
That's awesome. And speaking of everybody, I'm going to quickly go through our stats. So I don't know if you've been checking this, Jay, but we've been checking the Worldometer info just to see how many cases are actually going on worldwide. When we first started this, it was 20,000. Total coronavirus cases are now at 446,000. So it's crazy. Deaths are 19,000 and recovered are 112,000. So it's serious. Like it's not just something that's passing. We all need to do our part. And speaking of which too, we should all donate blood. The blood banks have a shortage of O negative blood. So if you do have that, it's in you to give. So please go and give it.
Right. You know what? About spreading hope and positivity, because that's our job. As it's really important for us to be focusing on not the silver lining, but on the hope and the light, as opposed to the negativity, because there's certainly enough of that out there. And there's a lot of people out there that are also using this as an opportunity to jump on a negative bandwagon as well. But on the other side of the fence, I'm really impressed and I'm impressed with some of us that are really stepping up and taking this seriously and helping the rest of the community. And for those people, I thank you so much. This will require sacrifice. Like, for example, my son that I was talking about is my son. I'm not going to see him for a couple of months, probably, because of this, right? He lives with his mom, right? He's a grocery line worker. And if we get together, he comes over for dinner and it's a barbecue, even if we were socially distancing, like, shoot, my neighbor came over the other day and opened my back door, and I'm like, you know what? I have to wipe down my back door now because you touched it. And I have no idea if you were washing and if you're doing all these things. So anyways, for the people that are sacrificing, I think, and there's a lot of it out there. There's going to be a lot more of it out there, but stay positive and stay hopeful because this will pass. And it's our job to make sure that, you know, we're doing our responsible thing so that we can help it pass quickly and so it doesn't actually pop back up again. Because there is a risk of recurrence if we don't take this seriously and stamp it out completely.
Absolutely. And Jay, I just want to say thank you so much again for coming on the show. All the realtors love you. You usually help host all of our galas, and your charmingly inappropriate jokes really tickle my heart.
Did you say charmingly inappropriate?
I did. That's usually my tagline. Thank you.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
That's usually I'm donating my personal tagline to you, charmingly inappropriate.
There's your slogan.
Yeah, it really is, kind of.
Hey, my name's Jay. I'm charming.
I'm literally at a loss for words right now. Thank God my fiance's not in the room because
you need a t-shirt.
Yeah, but no, I think that's amazing. And here's the best part is that anytime that I actually use that now on my show, I'm gonna get a text from Stacey that says you owe me royalties.
That's right.
Like when you spin a song, you pay the artist. Well, now I'm gonna have to every time I say that pay Stacey.
Yeah, just do it YouTube. I just want street cred, just like a small tagline.
Yeah, Stacey
Inappropriate as donated by Stacey Preer.
Oh my gosh. You're not going to have to go back to work after all this. You've just found your side hustle. You're going to have me paying you to take care of all the entertainment for my show.
I'm okay with it.
I love it.
Well, yeah, no, thanks again so much. You do such a great job in the community. And I know usually you're heavily involved with lots of things going on in London. Again, for real estate agents, you host our galas and our Easter Seals galas. So honestly, thank you so much. You put a lot of time and effort into doing all those things, and we don't pay you royalties. So
well, here's the thing. It's being invited back after the charmingly inappropriate jokes is payment enough. And, you know, this is what we have to look forward to, right, is being able to get back together and have those events and raise dollars for those charities and just be together as a group. Until then, you know, this is the next best thing. So thank you guys so much for having me on.
Awesome.
Have you. Really great chatting with you, Jay.
Take care, guys.
All right. Thanks. You guys have been tuning into Level Up Nation with myself, Stacey Preer.
And Dustin Pritchard.
And our guest, Jay Stevens. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time.
All right. See you next time. Thank you.